Welcome to Wake Up and Airbrush. My name is Dorothy Strohall, aka Heather 2.0, and I'm here to have fun with you guys, to do some demos, and to talk all things airbrushing. Alrighty, so I hope you guys had a great new year. I hope you had a good holiday season, and now it's back to the regular grind of 2023. How many of you are excited for 2023? I am. 2022 for me was a really hard year. It was just a lot of challenges, but 2023 is going to be great. And I know it's going to be great for you. And so that's what my prayer and hope is. I'm going to say it's going to be great for you. I'm saying it's going to be great for me. So, welcome to Wake Up and Airbrush. Today, we are going to talk about color mixing and matching. And the reason I want to talk about that is because we get a lot of, in our Luminess live group and on the phones with our beauty experts, we get a lot of, this color doesn't match. It's the wrong color. And yes, that could be true. I'm not saying it's not true. But what I am saying is, we can mix and match colors and make them work all year round. And not that it's the wrong color, it's that you have the ability and freedom. So like in the wintertime, I'm a really porcelain. And in the summertime, I can get a little browner and warmer and tan. But I can use all of the foundations that I have that are quote unquote the wrong color throughout the year. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. It's kind of, first thing we have to do for the best results, first thing we have to do, and y'all all know the basics because, if you're new to Luminess, pop on over to Luminess Live. We're there to help you here. Heather gets to go into some of the deeper stuff, show some more of the tips and tricks that go a little deeper. So that's why we get to do the color matching and mixing on here, because we're starting to remember and get down, keeping your stylus moving, right? That's like number one, keeping it moving, your 4 finger widths away, and your slight trigger pull. Now, y'all, whenever I went from the stylus and the compressor to the breeze, I had to repractice my trigger pull. And so I'm going to go over that with you also, just to kind of help remind that, because this trigger pull is completely different than the one on your stylus. So anytime you get a new piece of equipment, whether it be a brush, a sponge, an airbrush system, a different kind of airbrush system, there's always little changes that come in that are different that you have to adjust to. Anytime you get a new foundation, good morning, Veronica. Anytime you get a new foundation, anytime you get a new foundation mix or a new product, there's always a little bit of a learning curve to see how it works best for you and all of that good stuff. So this morning, I actually was completely makeup ready. And Heather said, hey, I'm not going to be able to do it. I was going to schedule live. You want to go live and hang out with the girls? And I said, sure, but I'm already makeup ready. So we are going to become un-makeup ready to talk about color mixing and matching. And so you get to see me deconstruct a look and reconstruct a look. Now, I'm not going to take my eyeshadow off because I decided to go full smoky this morning for me, because, I was just feeling a little rock stars this morning. And that's what you get to do with makeup. You get to be creative and change it to whatever you want it. There's some days I do really soft, really natural. And you'll see that on these lives. I'll have a really soft, pretty look. I think I did one for Christmas, a dramatic soft look. And then you'll see like big smoke rock star looks. So, as you can see in my all natural, I have a lot of red in my skin. And not that I necessarily have a red undertone, but I have a red overtone, which means I have some broken capillaries. I have some little bit of rosacea on my cheeks and on my chin that I don't completely cover up, because I think it's silly to cover up color that enhances your skin. But, I do need a little bit of coverage there. Okay. So we're down to all natural, right? And so we want to do some mixing and matching. So first thing, got to shake it, shake it, shake it. If you are here and you are around regularly, pop your name in there and say hello like Veronica did. Another tip I want to give you about your foundations is because they are pure pigment. That means they don't have any additives in it to help it smooth on. It's just color, which is why you can use so little. Um, in the wintertime or whenever it's cold, while we're doing that, y'all, while I'm explaining this, I'm gonna put on my rose serum because my face needs it. It's a little drier. But let me go back to what I was saying. When we get in there, the pigments in airbrush foundation, and it's every airbrush foundation, it's not just our formula. The pigments in that tend to thicken up. You know, it's kind of a science thing. When it gets colder, things thicken. When it gets warmer, things thin out. I mean, if you cook anything, you know that. Your gravy's warmer, it's thinner. Your gravy gets colder, it's thicker. Okay. Not the exact same thing, but it's the same concept. And so sometimes, not to the extreme of what I just said, but sometimes your foundation in the wintertime or in a really cold climate can get a little thicker. The elements of it can get thicker. And so if you live in a really cold climate, or if you have found that maybe it's harder to spray your foundation out when it's colder or in the wintertime, maybe I have to take my bottles and just run them under warm water because it doesn't always get cold here in Houston, but when it does, like nobody knows what to do with that. so if you just run the whole bottle just under a tap warm water, then it breaks it and thins it out to its normal consistency. And so that's really a tip or a trick that if you're finding that it is, you know, maybe not coming out as easily as you want it to, that you can do that. Alrighty. So I have in front of me, I have the rose formula, not the silk. I did the rose because it's a little bit more coverage. It's a little bit um, fuller coverage. And I like that. I like the smell. Let's just put it that way too. And if you look at it up next to my skin, I'm normally a 20, couple drops, 30 maybe. Look at that. That does not look like my skin color, right? And that's because it's a full pigment in a bottle. This is the 30. That does not look, it looks a little closer, but that looks a little too warm, right? So really, Tara, you have found that you need to use way more than 8 drops to cover your face. Okay. Well, one thing I would tell you with that is 8 drops per pass, which a pass should be 3 rounds, should give you the coverage you need in the areas you need. You don't have to do it in all of the areas. You only have to do a pass where you need the extra coverage, and I'll show you that. And also, that's a preference thing. So you're probably, if you're getting your 8 drops out too fast, you're probably pulling on the trigger too hard. So let me show you the trigger test and the trigger. I call it trigger training because it is brilliant. It is just brilliant. So, and I'm only going to put a couple of drops in. Hi, Dorothy. Do you need to change foundation colors between seasons? And yeah, you do not. That is what we are talking about. We're talking about mixing your colors so that when your skin tone does change, then you can change and adjust the foundation to the season. And so if you got 2 bottles, you can mix those to shades warmer or shades lighter as you need. Okay. And I'll show you that, Andrea, in this session in just a little bit. Okay. So this is a 50. It is so not my color. It is what I would use for contouring. It is about 3 shades darker than my color, but it makes it easier to read on the paper towel. So I'm going to use it. So this is what you should be seeing whenever you're blowing that fine of a mist. If you see that, that's too heavy. That means you are blowing too hard. Your trigger finger is too hard. And when I tell you, I just need y'all to see how far down I pull down on this trigger to get this. Barely. And you can hear it. Barely. I mean, my finger never even really moved, but if I pull it back, you get that spot. So when you are using it, go very, very light on the trigger. I mean, if you need to, Tara, I would tell you use that and practice so you have that muscle memory in the trigger, and that'll give you your passes on your face. Okay, so that was my 50 that I was showing you. That's what I use for contour. So let's just say I am a fair and they send me a 20 and a 30. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's light. Ooh, yeah, I don't know about that. That's dark. The great thing is when you're doing the light passes, both of these will work, right? Um, Plus, you can mix them. So I'm going to show you the 20, and we're going to do, I'm not even going to do 8 drops. I'm going to do probably, let's do 4. 4 drops. And I am going to hit mainly my T-zone because that's where most of my coverage needs to be done, right? Okay, 4 finger whisk away, and we're going to keep moving. And I've practiced my trigger finger. Now, most of the time, they'll tell you go all the way around, all the way around, all the way around. That's pass number 2, guys. Now I'm going to go over my nose area one more time, and then my T-zone, and then go back around here, back around here. I'm hitting pass number 3. I still have product in my well. Okay, that was a whole 3 passes, and that was 4 drops. Okay, so the thing you've got to remember is even though that looked way, way, way lighter in the bottle, it does not apply way lighter when you're using it in very light passes. Now, what we want to do is give the skin a minute to heat up the foundation. So this is what people don't understand about makeup artistry. It's really chemistry, honestly. I am a chemical being. My body is made up of chemicals, vitamins, minerals, all of that stuff. This is a chemical, right? And it is sitting on top of mine. So when my heat from my natural body reacts with the formula of the foundation, it starts to bloom, it starts to warm up, it starts to do its thing. It changes a little bit and does it. Oh, good morning, Amber. Good to see you. Hey, Philadelphia's in the house. There you go. So I did 4 drops with the 2 light of color, and I still have great coverage. But I'm going to go again with the darker color. So we're going to look at the 30, and we're going to see how does that 30 work. That it's a little too dark, you know? It's a little orangey, right? Okay, so I'm going to put 4 drops in here. Okay, and 8 drops, I mean, this would be a complete 8 drop set, right? So we're going to do other light passes, you know, 4 finger whisks away, light passes. And I am barely pulling back on the trigger. And I'm going to tell you, I love the smell of the rose, but it also gives me the coverage. It's a little bit more coverage than the silk. The silk is a light to medium coverage. Now you can build it to a full coverage, but this in general is a little bit more of a coverage formula than the silk. And I love that because I am one of your full coverage kind of girls, but I still want it to look like my skin. And if you'll notice, I'm doing more passes in my T-zone than I am on the sides of my face because I don't really need that much on the sides of my face. But in that T-zone, that's where all that pink is. I need that coverage for sure. Sides of my nose. And I'm still got it. I've still got. All righty. Did y'all see how many passes that was and how long it took? I had 4 drops. 4 drops. And so I'm going to still give it a second to bloom or to heat up with my skin and do it. Tara, The one that has more coverage is the rose. Silk is a light to medium coverage, which you can build it to a full coverage, so I'm not saying you can't. And then the rose is a medium coverage that goes to full coverage, depending upon how many passes and how many times you go about with that. Okay, so I did a really light pass. I did a really dark pass. Now, the great thing about these is I can mix them. Okay. And so I'm going to go full coverage now. That was 2 passes. So that was 8 drops total. Completely 8 drops total. Oh, yay, Tara. Let us know how you like it. That was 8 drops total. And I can actually put 4 of the 30 in, 4 of the 20 in. And here's the thing, guys. Normally, I would not wear this much because I feel like I've got enough coverage. I would just do my little extra hot spots here and I'd be happy. But because we're doing a demo, I wanted to show you that you can mix them and create your perfect tone because I mean, one day, seriously, in the summer, one day I'll be good. One day my foundation will be on point, and then the next day it's kind of my skin's changed from not being in the sun and I'll need to go a little lighter. Or the next day, I'll get out in the sun and been out, and I'll need to go a little warmer. So it is a great tool. So once you put those in there, you're going to back bubble or mix it. And that means you're going to turn it on, put your finger and press it hard where the air comes out and pull the trigger just a little bit. You see that little bubbling? That is back bubbling or mixing. We also tell you to use this. Sometimes you use the silk as the base and then the rose for more coverage. Exactly, Cindy. It's great. You can mix the silk and the rose together. That you can do. I have done it before. I have done a full coverage with the rose and gone in with the silk for my contour, all of that. Okay, so it's put together. And so we're going to go and go one more round. So this will work with any colors that you have. You have the ability to mix any colors in there and it will probably work. Why didn't I use the powder first today? Honestly, Andrea, I didn't think about it. I was concentrating more on us being able to do the coverage, us being able to change the color as we want and need, and then making sure that we can apply it in the way that will work best for our skin, which means slight passes, super fine hair trigger. You do not want to go too heavy on that. And I still have some in my well. You bought the color adjuster drops, but you haven't messed with them yet. Oh, yes. Depending upon what pigmentation challenges you might have, those color adjusting drops, those are fun to customize with. All righty. So there we go. We had, did y'all hear my puppies? I'm live, and so they decided they needed to talk. Hey, if y'all are going to come say hi. Okay. There they go. They said hi. So I have the colors. I had the colors that were too light, had the colors that were too dark, and then we mixed them. And here's the thing. That's the great thing about airbrushing. It's customizable. You do not have to go buy one shade and your one shade's done, period. You just don't. That's not how this works. You have the ability to use the same 2 bottles in the winter, in the spring, in the summer, and in the fall. And all you have to do is adjust the drops and adjust the coverage. So you adjust the color by how many drops of each color you use. You adjust the coverage by how many passes you make in there. So it doesn't matter how many drops you necessarily put in this. It matters how many passes you make and where you specify or where you use those drops at. If you notice, most of my drops were here, not out here. And so that really gave me the coverage that I prefer in my T-zone. Okay, so That is how you mix and match your foundation when you feel like maybe it's too light or maybe it's too dark or I've got a suntan. All you do is adjust your drops. All you do is adjust the way you apply it. And ta-da, you have customized foundation every single time you wear it. All righty, that's all I have for you today. If you guys ever have any questions, I am over at Luminous Live. It's our group page. All you have to do is type in Luminous Live and join the group. I'm there every day, Monday through Friday till 5 p.m. to answer any and all of your makeup, airbrushing, and beauty questions. Also, you can get a hold of a beauty expert just like me that can answer your questions. I gotta put some gloss on, y'all. My lips are dry. They can answer your questions on the phone, and they're available to you till 5 p.m. to help walk you through, give you tutorials, help you know how to clean your machine, help you know how to airbrush under the eyes. All of those tips and tricks our beauty experts do on the phone. Lastly, y'all know Heather's normally on here Monday through Thursday at this time. So y'all make sure you click and subscribe so that you can hang out with Heather, check out our live demos. I think she's got some fun stuff coming up soon. I cannot wait for you to see what she's got for you on the lives coming. But also, y'all, she's got a group class. If you have not done her group class, and even if you have done her group class, sign up again. She does a great job helping you create a specific look, helping you color match. Maybe, you know what? Helping Tara, the color adjuster, helping you learn how to do that. It would be so, so great to get to be with Heather in that. Cindy, it's easier to use fewer drops. Yes, it is easier for me to use fewer drops and then just add it as I need it because once I pause and let it warm up with my skin, you'll really see how much coverage you have. It takes a couple of seconds. So you've got to give it time to warm up with your skin tone to really get the fullness of the coverage that you have before you add more. We want to do it a little bit at a time so we don't over coverage or get too heavy a makeup and apply more than we need. But back to the classes. You can sign up for her classes on Mondays and Wednesdays. They're at noon Central Time and they're free. So there's a quick click link in the description of this slide. You can click on that. They'll take you over to the sign up page and you can reserve your spot at the beauty bar with Heather. Okay, guys, I am heading back over to Luminous Live, but if I don't get to see you again anytime soon, Heather will be back tomorrow. And if you need any help at any time, pop on over to the group and I will be more than happy to answer your questions in real time. I will see you later. Goodbye, Jeannie. Goodbye, Tara. Goodbye, Cindy. Goodbye, Andrea. All those. I'll see y'all later.